Kia ora, more LEGO Star Wars sets bought on a crazy clearance. Here we have 75362 Ahsoka Tano's T-6 Jedi Shuttle. I made sure to buy this one quick because you can never really tell just how popular a LEGO Ahsoka set may be, but it looks like the gunship actually has everyone distracted right about now. This set released this September in 2023 for 140 NZD. My local retailer listed it day one at $126, which is already a pretty nice saving, but for Father's Day they recently had an additional 20% off sale. That dropped the set down to 100 NZD, a $40 saving. For the Americans, instead of paying 80 USD, I paid around 56. The set overview here is a remake of a beloved LEGO Star Wars set, well, one that I really love, the original release of the T-6 Jedi Shuttle from 2011. I'd love to do a comparison sometime when I actually do have access to all of my sets, but for now, we'll just focus on this one. We've also got some real banging figures here. So this is based on the Ahsoka TV show that has started streaming now on Disney+. I haven't started it yet personally. I've heard a lot of really good things, and I've heard a lot of really bad things. Seems to be pretty standard for Star Wars stuff these days. That means that I can't actually quite comment on the accuracy of the ship. I've skimmed through some of the footage from trailers, and from what I've seen, it does look pretty on point. That sleek design looks really great. Looks exactly how I remember the original being, which it definitely isn't. This is a very fresh 2023 redesign. The grey and red color scheme looks really flash, though it doesn't really look like that's what the source material's color is. It kind of looks like a yellow bone kind of color, at least in my eyes. I'll prop it up on these minifigure display stands here because the key feature of the shuttle is the rotating wings. Thank God this feature does return. Makes for a really dynamic display if you have it this way. The original release I recall being very restrictive in its feature. There's a little bit of friction there when you spin those wings. Here though, smooth as butter. Really easy to just move around and spin. You're able to achieve a full 360 spin, but one thing that I really wish the set had was a nice secret handled section so that I could just hold on to that and freely spin, because my hands are always going to just get in the way of this thing. A longer back engine section or something would have been really appreciated. It's also always worth mentioning with how frequently LEGO make these kinds of sets where you can see both the top side and the underside of the design. Only one side is actually focused on and built and looks nice. The other side, in this case the underside of the wings, it just looks really ugly and a blocky look. Would be nice if they could try to improve on that, but anyway, let's talk about the topside heaviness of this set. The design is a really nice one for playability, but it's a little awkward as a display model. The set is balanced entirely on this smaller section here, and it's right at the end of the ship, so the front can tip over easily. Now to combat this, LEGO actually built in this strange design of some landing gear. These walls can fold out, and now it makes the ship stand a little bit more solid on its display, but really, the set could stand perfectly fine on its own without this kickstand. It won't stop it from being top heavy. These are the main stickers in the set, just these three, but doubled for the other side as well. Unlike the gunship that released, these stickers actually do match in the color scheme for the set, so yay, good job. It's the same red and grey that's used, and it looks so nice. I really love that the continued pattern of the wings here is actually continued all the way through, as opposed to the original, whose pattern did end up breaking for a sticker. We have some stud shooters here at the front, which are of that newer design as seen in the Batman sets, but these are starting to feel pretty standard from now on. The cockpit is able to fit Ahsoka inside. I did have some slight concerns that her hairpiece might be a little too tall, but she does fit really nicely. The original set actually had this feature where the cockpit could work as an escape pod, and here it's no different. The pod can be pulled out and now functions on its own. It is significantly smaller than the original pod though. The original could also fit up to 2 minifigures, whereas this one can only house 1 pilot. The engines are some of my favorite parts of LEGO Star Wars ships. I really like how good this looks when spinning around 3 big engines and 2 minor ones at the top and the bottom. The last section here to talk about are these storage areas. Both sides near the wings have these doors that can open up to reveal storage areas. Here in this first one we have a small little area with some flat parts and a bigger space. The set gives us a few weapons and you can store all of them in here. We've got Sabine's guns, Ezra's lightsaber, and Ahsoka's as well. It only shows you 2 lightsabers being fit in here. It is possible to have more than one though. Sabine's helmet can also fit in here, provided that you've removed some things to make some extra room. The other side features a smaller area though. You could probably get some nice storage out of this one. This area comes complete with a wrench that's attached to a crate of some kind. Our first minifigure here is the Ahsoka Tano, based on her new design from all of the Disney Plus series. She was featured first on The Mandalorian, so we've actually seen her in this design across multiple forms of both media and merchandise for a few years now actually, including a DLC for the LEGO Skywalker game, so we've known exactly what this figure could look like for some time. Finally, LEGO have their edition. This figure is actually different from that game's design, a rarity when it comes to adapting LEGO minifigures that were first featured in the games. I'll come out and say it, I really love this Ahsoka figure, despite my personal issues with the eyes on alien figures. She features what seems to be some new Jedi robes and some nice orange arm prints that go along with it. Feels like a really good solid CMF figure here. The orange on her back doesn't quite match with the orange that's used throughout, but it's not too distracting for me from the rest of the set. Clear lightsabers that are used, which is a rarity in sets like this, and a double-sided face as well. My quarrel with the aliens in LEGO Star Wars is that LEGO eventually just stopped producing pupils on some of the races. It's annoying to me, and I don't know why they've done it. I think it's been like this for, I want to say, almost a decade now. Rosario Dawson in the show has pupils. Mary Elizabeth Winstead in the show also has pupils. Even in the animated series, they have pupils. This is a change that I desperately want to see made in the future. And now let's talk about her Leku piece, Ahsoka's iconic design trait. They changed the shaping in continuity to better fit with the actors and the stunt actors in the live action suits. Makes total sense, though only if it's explained, of course, because otherwise it can be distracting for those who don't care about the filmmaking aspects. But it's actually a good thing, because surely it meant that LEGO weren't going to get away with using the really long ones that they love to just reuse, whether it be accurate or not. I'm surprised that they did this, but we actually do have a brand new piece. It's a rubber molded piece that is a great remake of the Padawan Ahsoka's one, and it's a great size adjustment piece as well for the other previously released Ahsoka figures. This alone is what sold me on the figure. Here she is compared to the last Ahsoka figure that released. This one came out a few years ago in the tank set and the Maul duel set based on season 7 of the Clone Wars. The Mandalorian and Ahsoka show are set post Return of the Jedi, where her Leku should be longer. The Clone Wars era is set pre, in which they should be shorter. So now we have some fixed versions of both figures. Suddenly, I really love that Clone Wars figure one a lot more now. Here we have Sabine Wren, another remake that really needed to happen because frankly, the last few minifigures just seemed downright, I don't want to say it, but they seemed a little racist to me. This new one seems to be accurate for her ethnicity now, which is genuinely a very welcome remake. Thank you LEGO, I appreciate it. She uses the Larry the Barista hairpiece in purple, which is pretty funky. Maybe a little too brightly colored though compared to the source material. Her Mandalorian armor is nice, but it's missing that blue shoulder pad that she's got that I really wanted to see because it kind of just brings out a bit more color. What we're left with is just plain brown and no arm printing and like basic silver and stuff. It's okay, but could have been a bit more colorful. A double-sided expression of annoyance, and she comes packing with some extras. First off, we have new for the Ahsoka show, Ezra's lightsaber, which is now in the possession of Sabine. Perhaps we'll see her return it to him at the end of the show or not, who knows. Sabine also does come with her guns and a Mandalorian helmet. I've never had a Sabine figure with the helmet, so this was really nice for me to get. Here's a comparison of her to her past figures. You can probably see what I mean about the skin change. This is Professor Huyang, a special droid from the Clone Wars, returning in this show because it's a Dave Filoni show. Of course there's going to be fan favorite characters returning a la Glup Shido appearances, but the Huyang figure actually looks really nice. He seems to feature the color scheme that I was wanting the ship to have in its source material, and it looks really good on plastic. His most notable feature is the specially molded head, which looks really great. Full plastic and nicely detailed. He's a really cool inclusion actually. He is a droid in the show, but he doesn't use any of those droid pieces. Here he goes the C-3PO route and uses minifigure parts instead. Finally, here we have Marrok, the villain of the set and I'm guessing the show. This guy is really exciting to have. As I said, I'm not following the show. I know that from the internet right now there is currently speculation on who this guy is, which only told me one thing right away before I bought the set. Black head underneath the helmet. Yep, this is what happens when sets are to be made and released alongside something and we have to live in a spoiler culture world. It could be anyone under the helmet, and whoever it is, it doesn't matter because we don't have an accurate likeness to go with that. Besides that though, the figure is a standout amongst the set. He looks to be a really old Inquisitor with some rust appearing on his armor. Maybe he's part machine or something. The armor piece is really nice. You can remove it and see that that design still carries over onto the torso underneath. You can attach the lightsaber to the back for those of you who haven't seen how these Inquisitor pieces work before, and his Knight's helmet, it's just the best. I am expecting to see some really good looking From Software customs now that this piece has been made available. The box looks pretty. We've got Ahsoka here and the figures are displayed in the corner as well. That light blue color scheme for the show fits quite nicely. The back of the box shows a brand new area that I'm not personally familiar with, and the set's features that I've mentioned throughout the review. The instructions are the standard plain render ones. It's a longer booklet though. Render of the set and advertisements for the other sets that released in this wave at the back. I do love the look of those other Ahsoka sets here, but I haven't seen the show just yet, so I don't really have a connection to buy them yet, but the ghost looks really good. I'm sold on that every single time I see it. That's my look at Ahsoka Tano's T-6 Jedi Shuttle. It's a really nice set overall, and for the price I paid, not too bad. The mystery behind everything included, because I can't seem to find the time to watch a brand new show, only intrigues me more into enjoying this set. I like the color scheme that's been chosen, the figures are probably some of the best in recent LEGO Star Wars memory, and it's a remake of a set that I really love. If you enjoyed this review of a 2023 LEGO Star Wars set, liking and subscribing does help support this channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Ka kite anō.